swept in Oakland. They're not a very good team. Tim Kawakami of The Athletic and our friend and teammate here at Odyssey with his TK show podcast, he floated out the idea, maybe strike now if you want Mike Trout. You can get him on the cheap, and it's a big name, and that might bring butts to the seats. Sam, should the Giants go all in? And I don't even know if it's going all in. Just go trade for Mike Trout.
As all in as you possibly can for Mike Trout. Be honest, at this point, with the money that would be committed to him, with the injury history he showed over the last few years.
But it's a name. It's Mike Trout.
You see, names are great.
One of the greatest players of all time.
Names are great, but names don't do anything if they're not winning. That's the thing. That's not
his fault, though. They're just a dumpster fire and with the Angels.
Well, no. When I say winning, also you got to perform too. And Mike Trout has performed
when healthy.
When healthy, he was a Hall of Famer 4 or 5 years in his career. He could retire today and he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's just kind of where he's at right now. I'm not denying the talent.
32 years old, by the way. He's going to be 33 in August.
He's got 7 years left on that deal, I believe so, right now.
Yeah.
Are there more all-star seasons than non-all-star seasons in the rest of his career? The thing with Mike Trout is just whatever is left in the tank, I don't know if it's worth it at this point. Just the body is broken down too much.
He's running on a treadmill, by the way, for those that are concerned he's not coming back.
Ooh.
Expectations are he's starting to run on a treadmill. I don't know what those settings is. Is it, walking up a staircase or not?
Is there an incline there?
I don't know. He's just running on a treadmill.
Is he doing interval training? Is he doing one of those preset routines you can do?
There was no Stairmaster, Sam, but he is signed through 2030, by the way. So there you go. So 6 more years.
People who do Stairmasters are crazy.
You get a good work on the Stairmasters.
Oh, no, you gotta be an absolute psycho to commit to the Stairmaster. I remember I would try to do a Stairmaster. I think the longest I've ever gone is 5 minutes. After that, you're just I can't.
For a good calf workout, I like to push the baby and I do the dog walk, and there's a lot of hills over in East Oakland.
Okay.
I just rock the flip-flops, get an insane calf workout.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a
low-key good dad workout.
There you go.
I feel like there's there could be a video series of this, just dad-themed workouts, or it's calf raises, push your kid up the hill, bench press the kids. Yeah, you curl them a little bit. There we go, dad workouts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me with Mike Trout, it's just I don't know how much is really left in the tank. And if you're bringing him in here just to be a sexy name in the lineup every day, that's great. But if he's a sexy name in a lineup that's putting up 74 wins a year and he's hitting 230 during that time, the shine wears off really, really quickly in that situation. But I mean, if the Giants just want to be a team like what the Padres are, where it's just hey, we got names in our lineup, and if we win, that's great. Sure, they could do that.
Padres are winning right now.
Yeah, but I mean, they're winning now. How they fare long term this year?
I don't know. They got some young studs too, don't they? Have the rookie of the year on their team right now too.
Machado, who is the ultimate cloud of sadness.
Oh, come on! It's just Manny being Manny. Let's let him go.
Manny Machado,
We got him Brandon Belt for the bad body language all the time. Come on.
There's bad body language, and then there's just being an absolute head case in the clubhouse.
I like Manny.
Manny's a great baseball player, but he is an absolute toxic presence in the clubhouse. All he cares about is those dollar bills. Whatever happens after that is big whoop. He does not care about winning.
It looks like they're having fun on the field right now, Sam.
That's great.
It looks like
fun.
They're having fun. You're gonna have Jackson
fun.
Merrill,
and you're gonna have fun on the golf course in October too. So
I don't know. They're in the playoffs right now. The Giants are.
Yes, they're in the playoffs right now. But let's see where the Padres again. AJ Preller has been there for 10 years. He's had 8 managers, and you have 2 playoff series wins.
Well, the Giants right now are a non-playoff team, and the Padres had Bob Melvin last year, got rid of him, brought in Mike Shildt, and they look like a better team. That's just the reality.
They look like the exact same team as last year.
I don't know. They're better than last year right now. They're plus 31 in run differential.
I'm just saying, Manny Machado, if he's the dude in your clubhouse, then you are always in perpetual stormy seas.
Manny Machado will be the best player on the Giants right now offensively.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not denying that. I'm not denying he's a great baseball player. What I'm saying is that he is a terrible teammite and a terrible presence in the clubhouse.
All right. Barry Bonds wasn't a great presence in the clubhouse either. Jeff Kenyon fought all the time. And look how many
titles they won,
Oh, it doesn't matter. Come on, the 70s A's hated each other and won 3 in a row.
Well, yeah, that's the exception, not the norm, And that was also back in the 70s where you could do whatever you want and get away with it. I'm pretty sure murder was legal back then in the 70s.
Relax. Maybe seatbelts weren't
Did you see all those serial killer documentaries from the 70s, dude? That was the golden age of them, man.
Super serial.
Don't let your kid go outside. They're never going to come back. I don't know how anyone lived in the 70s, man. That was a dangerous time.
They say they reflect like it was the greatest era. So there you go. All of our parents do
it's
that.
always great later on. I'm sure, 50 years from now, we'll be talking about the 2020s as it was so great in our...
I'm already nostalgic about the early 2000s.
Oh,
shout out World of Warcraft.
Dude, I'm nostalgic about 2016. Take me back.
2016.
But
the Warriors lost. Oh no, blew in a 3-1 lead.
Well, hey, right now in 2016, 8 years ago today, we're all dancing in the streets right now. So 2016 wasn't all awful. This is when Pokemon Go was popping up, the last true, peaceful moment of society.
Pokemon Go.
Did you ever play Pokemon Go?
No, I did not play that. I played the OG Pokemon blue and red version, and that's about it. And then I stopped.
Oh, I was all into Pokemon Go.
No.
And that was we were working at the old building at Howard Street. And it was always popping off in downtown San Francisco.
There you go. I was doing promotions at that old building. That's why. So I was doing that with all the different, our old cluster, if you will, going deep inside radio. So
I remember that.
You're a no on Mike Trout. You're a no on some of the injury. I understand the injury concern. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I do wonder where the Giants are going to be heading towards the trade deadline. They got a couple weeks here.
If you're going to get a big name to build around, I'm not saying this is easy, but you got to at least try and be under 30.
Okay.
You got to, if you're not going to develop your own superstar, which is, I prefer they would do that, then you got to find someone who's at least of that age. You can build around them long term. That's why I really like the idea of Vlad Jr. I know it's probably a pipe dream, but that's the one where if you are going to go all out at this deadline, and if you're Farhan Zaidi with my brand new, ink is now officially dry on the contract extension, what better way to put your stamp on these next 3 years and let everybody know that these Farhan failures that we've seen over the last few years are in the past, and that, that Farhan swagger that we briefly saw early on in his 10 years back, go out and make that go for broke trade with the Blue Jays for Vlad Jr. and Bo Bichette. And the narrative around this team, the narrative around your tenure with this team changes dramatically in that situation.
A guy that I would have my eyes on, and these teams don't do business very often. I don't know if maybe the last one was Birch Smith. Maybe there was one since that, but it's the A's and the Giants. And there's this guy on the A's right now, should be an all-star, probably is going to be, is Brent Rooker, who's just been on a tear this year.
Love me some Brent Rooker.
He was an all-star last year. This is a guy who I don't know how much it's going to cost. Maybe, and the A's obviously do Billy Beane does shrewd business. David Forst, longtime general manager over there. He's got 17 home runs this year. He's batting .273, 50 ribbies. He's got a slugging of .531, 880 OPS. He's just been a great pickup. He also runs the base. He's got 4 stolen bases this year. So, I know it's not a lot, but hey, Brent Rooker is a guy I would keep my eyes on, who's not a sexy name, but a lot of contenders are going to be looking at Brent Rooker. A lot of contenders are going to be looking at a guy named Brent Rooker. That's who I would be interested. I know the teams, they don't do business often.
Well, no, I mean,
I'd be sniffing around,
the only thing that I can see that providing as a hiccup is the Giants kind of have too many DH options already.
He can play left field, though.
Jorge Slayer's been holding that down. That's true. Brent Rooker, he's
can play left field. He's not horrible
on defense.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I think he'd be great in this lineup.
He's 29 too, so he's not super old. But again, if you're one of those, if you want him to be younger than that, but he's still got a lot of meat left on that bone, and I think that would be a swing. But maybe a team maybe a team like the Dodgers. The Dodgers and A's do deals all the time too, so I can definitely see the Dodgers.
Well, Dodgers could be on
Luis
everybody.
Robert, the White Sox.
I fully expect the Dodgers to be on Luis Robert Jr.
Yes,
and that will be the word. I really like Luis Robert Jr. I wanted the Giants to get him this last offseason to bring in because
more that Latin flair too. I would love that. You got Matos, you got Ramos.
He is a rising star.
Yeah.
He has 30-30 potential, and he is playing very, very well despite playing in that absolute stain of an organization that is the Chicago White Sox right now. Talk about organization. If you were going to move any team to Vegas, move the White Sox to
Jerry
Vegas.
Reinsdorf.
Chicago does not need 2 baseball teams. There are 9 White Sox fans in that city.
Don't you?
Let's move. Okay, fine, 14.
Don't leave Bob Fitzgerald and the great Matt Kolsky off this list. All right, both huge White Sox fans.
Okay, I'll leave them off the list. So now we're down to 12.
I live with these people. I love these people. They're part of my family.
Paul Konerko was part of his family.
I didn't know that Fitz was a White Sox fan.
There you go. The more you know.
That's very unfortunate. He just watch these games at some point this team's going to start to turn things around.
I can't wait to hear his calls on the side note on Team USA. Oh, it's going to be all time. LeBron to Steph. Oh, it's going to be tremendous. Tremendous. It's going to be great. Real quick, Sammy, let's get into this because you've been teasing it all show. This article from Susan Slusser of the San Francisco Chronicle, who obviously covers the team there, had a sit down with Giants owner's son. What's his title specifically? What is he?
Charles Giants. He's basically the owner, principal owner, chairman, whatever. Right. The base title, if you use owner, that is a legally accurate.
There you go. But Charles Johnson, who's basically doing all the shots here. He brought in Farhan Zaidi, obviously, and they spent a lot of money. And I'm curious your thoughts on him basically admitting here in this article that they are bringing back Farhan Zaidi, new contract extension for him. What did you take away from this piece with Charles Johnson sitting down with Susan Slusser for the San Francisco Giants?
Well, obviously, the big thing was, Farhan did sign his extension, which was interesting because they announced the extension during the Bob Melvin presser. And that was they kind of slipped it in there, very ho-hum like. The lack of pomp and circumstance around Farhan's contract has been kind of interesting. But the thing was, he hadn't signed it yet. And Farhan is a notoriously hard guy to kind of track down and pin down into a meeting. At least that's what Giants PR man Matt Chisholm's told me numerous times. And so he's a hard guy to get a hold of. But the fact that it took this long for us to finally know that, yes, the deal was signed. I believe the line that he said was, yes, he signed it. He signed it, a while ago. So not only this extension was it signed, it happened a while ago. And we're just finding out about it now, which I feel like you would want people to know that, but then again, the Giants, they're not dumb. They are probably very well aware of the discourse around Farhan Zaidi right now. So maybe that would probably be why. But I thought just the whole process of it has been very interesting.
When I read the tone of this article, Farhan's not going anywhere, by the way. Like he's sticking through after the season. I think there was this understanding, or maybe understanding is too strong a word, but maybe some hope for some Giants fans that if they did not make the playoffs this year, if it was truly indeed playoffs or bust for Farhan, he'd be out of here. Well, if they don't make the playoffs, he's staying still.
I feel like he's staying. And the reason why, and Johnson kind of says this towards the end, one of the last questions that he was asked was, you mentioned the young players, the flip side of the injuries. This is the question, by the way. But that's created some opportunities. What are your thoughts on Elliot Ramos, Brett Wisely, and some of the others who have seized those chances? And Charles said in response, it's exciting. All these young players look like they're ready to compete at the top level. The future looks very bright with the number of arms we have, and our outfield is very solid with Matos playing well, and certainly Ramos looks like an elite player. All that gets me very excited for the second half, and for the next few years gives us a lot of flexibility. I think we should all be excited about seeing the youth that's quickly moving up the system. That's really like the key to everything. That tells me that with what we've seen from the Giants farm system, what it's produced this year, I think the young guys kind of saved Farhan Zaidi's job. Like the arrival of Elliot Ramos, the development of Luis Matos, and Brett Wisely too, and something all those guys. Birdsong arriving too. Kyle Harrison is matriculating up now. Casey Schmidt showed us a little bit at times.
Jordan Hicks acquisition, I think, helps Farhan.
But and Contos kind of said it, and well, I think it was Big Smooth and Phil Mo Mike. They even said this was about the Warriors. It starts from within.
Yeah.
And what that tells me is that the way these guys are developing, it's the fact that they came up, went back down, and then came up again, and then started performing. The development is clearly there in this farm system, at least enough so that you're seeing the results. And so, if the Giants don't make the playoffs, but Elliot Ramos, Luis Matos, Brett Wisely keep playing well, I think, Farhan's definitely going to be around for a little bit longer.
888-957-9570. How are we feeling about that, Giants fans? Farhan looking like he's sticking around, but you know what? You got to give him credit. I mean, the young guys that performed this year, the acquisitions that he's made in the offseason, Solaire's coming together. Matt Chapman's been a net positive here. You obviously knew the defense there, but he has timely hitting out a home run yesterday. Things are percolating right now with the San Francisco Giants, and you have to give Farhan Zaidi some credit there. I get it. Overall, it has not been a great tenure. They've had one playoff appearance, and it was losing to the Dodgers in 5 games. That hurts. It was a historic season, but where did it get you? Ultimately nowhere. You've been out of the playoffs for a couple of years now. Will they make the playoffs this year? Is it still playoffs and bust for you? 888, not 48, 888-957-9570 is the number.
Yeah, so I mean, to that point is with Ramos, could he save the job? Ramos Matos, if Ramos makes the All-Star team, that's a huge feather in the cap for Farhan Zaidi. The one knock I would have there on those young guys is what we've seen so far. Wisely, Ramos, Matos, with those hitters. I like them a lot. I don't think they're centerpiece guys. And the fact of the matter is you need that center. Now, you need that centerpiece guy. Now, maybe that is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. If that is it, though, that would be a massive departure.
Huge.
That'd be also be a massive departure and precedent for the Giants, too. Spinoni, you go back this entire team's history, going all the way back to when they were founded in 1883. The centerpiece
I remember
of
that year. It was a great year.
Oh, yeah. Back
awesome.
with Jim Mutry and the New York
love the
Gothams,
Industrial Revolution. It was awesome. Shout out President Grant.
Dude, the cotton gin, man.
Mm-hmm.
Revolutionized everything.
That's right.
But, God, how many reports did you have to do on the cotton gin back
I
in the
don't
day?
know. That was like History 18 in general ed, like when you first go to college. You have like History 18. It was a pre-industrial revolution. They got post-history 19, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, continue.
Anyway, 90s babies conversations here. But you go all the way back to then, the centerpiece of this lineup has always been a homegrown star. It was back then, in the early New York days, whether it was, Buck Ewing, you go to Mel Ott or Bill Terry in the early 1900s. Then you had the Willies, Mason McCovey, you had the Clarks, Jack and Will. Eventually you had Buster Posey in there. The one exception to the rule is Barry Bonds, who was a free agent, but he was originally drafted by the Giants in 84, but he chose Arizona State instead. Oh, and there's also the fact that he was a little kid who basically grew up in the Giants clubhouse.
His godfather was Willie Mays.
Yeah.
And he grew up in the Bay Area. He was a Giants fan.
His father was Bobby Bonds. He basically was a different kind of homegrown. So if they did bring Vlad Jr. in, that would be a massive departure. But other than that, if that's not going to be the guy, then you're probably looking at Bryce Eldredge right now. And I think that's the one big glaring issue on Farhan Zaidi is he does not have that centerpiece figure yet.
He's going to be part of that Future Stars game, right? Where they still do that.
Get an invite,
yeah,
yes.
Okay.
And now Shasky, he's been high on him. He's done the homework on Bryce Eldredge. He is very high.
I love my sausage.
He does. Bryce Eldredge is basically the sausage of the Giants right now.
Is he a brat? Is he Italian? Is he a kielbasa? What are we going here?
Hopefully he's a spicy one because he needs to bring some heat to this lineup.
I like that. That's a 4.
There we go.
Great.
Shasky thinks he's going to be up here really quick. I'm not quite sure when Eldredge will be here. If he's here next year, that'd be awesome. I've seen some of the videos of this dude. He hits some absolute nukes, though.
Okay.
But you know who else used to hit nukes? Marco Luciano. So that's the, again, with Farhan Zaidi, the young guys, they might be saving his job. They might have got him his extension, but he will not get another extension if 3 years from now we're still saying who's the centerpiece of this lineup.
It's interesting. I'm starting to think about that Mike Trout one real quick. And I'm thinking of Marco Luciano. If he's like the main piece and if they're looking at him, there's a manager over and you think about Marco Luciano, you know where I'm going. Marco Luciano is not good with the glove right now. And there was a former player in Oakland that worked with Ron Washington who was then the bench coach or the third base coach of the Oakland Athletics and is now the manager of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of Orange County, of California, whatever you want to call them. Disneyland. But he works and he has a magic touch when it comes to defense with players. Marcus Semien was horrible defensively. The guy made error after error after ever, ended up winning a Gold Glove. Like that is what he did. That is a credit, obviously, to Marcus because he had to work on it, but to Ron Washington. So if you were to buy low on someone and maybe he's part of a bigger package, maybe get someone else, another couple rookies in there, some proven Matoses, if you will, sure. But if Marco Luciano is that guy, I can look at Ron Washington saying, you know what? If this guy just gets the glove a little bit, he has that power and he has that swing and the offense is there. Maybe you take a swing like that. Again,
if I'm the
maybe
Angels,
it's pie in the sky. I don't know.
I could see if there is indeed a trade that includes a package built around Marco Luciano for Mike Trout. If I'm the Angels, just that loan that what Wash can do with Marco Luciano, I could honestly see the Angels coming out on top long term.
Really? Wow.
Depending, the Angels would have to do some work there.
Yes.
To coach these guys up a little bit. But
they're in a position that they could be that, you know what, you can make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yes. The A's and Marcus Semien there, he had times to make mistakes there. But it also helps early on when you have a Gold Glover and Matt Olson and Matt Chapman to protect you. But nonetheless.
Wash was a big part of why that defensive infield was so good. I always remember back when the A's were with this station, I went down to the Coliseum one day. This was back when Lo Neal was, doing the morning show. And we did this thing where it was just, hey, Lo, go take batting practice with the A's. You're an athlete, whatever.
How do you do, by the way?
He did all right.
Okay.
Well, first off, I'm watching Wash give him this crash course on hitting, which was one of the most incredible things I remember I was streaming it on Facebook at the time, because this was back when Facebook was, relevant. And I'm just sitting there. I'm not even paying attention to what the stream's doing anymore, because I'm just listening to the Wash just break down the finer details of hitting and how you coach different players and stuff like that. And then later on, I'm watching him work with Marcus Semien. And I'm watching the work they're putting in. I watched them for about like 5-10 minutes of them putting in this pregame fielding work. And he was using like this like flat padded glove. There was like no fingers on it as a way to kind of like you get in front of the ball and trap it with your palm. I'm watching these guys do work for about 10 minutes. And I immediately texted two of my friends who are big A's fans. Shout out Kevin Hine, Jordan Runco. They're my guys. They're big A's fans. Texting them both at the same time. Marcus Simeon's going to win a Gold Glove in 3 years. And they're like, what? Because they're both like, he stinks. He's never going to be any good. I tell you, this guy's going to be a Gold Glove winner. Let me tell you what I just saw. And there you go. So the wash effect, it is absolutely real. And yeah, I could absolutely see him doing sweet magic with Marco Luciano.
There you go. 888-957-9570. I really enjoyed this Giants talk. We can pick it up on the other side. I also want to get into